Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. Today's going to be a tackle tinkering day where I just want to show you how you can easily turn a crankbait into a surface bait or into a just a unique crankbait that you can't buy on the market. It's a simple fix. It takes minutes to do, and you're not altering the bait where you can't turn it back into the original crankbait if you don't like how the bait functions. Real simple to do. Before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys though that if you're looking for a lake breakdown, go over to the Fish the Moment website, click on the lake breakdown section. You can see all the northern lakes that I have done lake breakdowns for already. I think I'm up to about 14 different lakes across the entire northern part of the country. At the same time, if you're looking for lakes for down south, both Johnny and Randy Blockett there's hundreds of lake breakdowns to choose from. So the chances are, if you're looking for a lake breakdown on a specific body of water, head over to the Fish the Moment website and they'll have the lake breakdown for that lake. If not, you can request a personalized one if we don't have the lake that you're nearest to. So guys, what I want to talk about today is how you can take a crankbait like this Berkley Squarebull and turn this into a unique style bait. You know, really what I wanted to do, and I got this idea from old school lures like the old Storm Tubby. So way back when you could buy a Storm Tubby, which was before even the Wiggleworts were out there, kind of on the early part of the Wigglewort phase, where it came with a little twister tail attached to the back of the crankbait. At the same time, there's been some other crankbaits out there like the Dancing Eel that have longer tails. And as we all know, in the summertime, throwing a big rat style topwater bait is a great way to get some really big bites. So one of the things that I was fooling around with was how I can add a tail to the backs of my crankbaits, and I've got a really easy way for you to do it. All you're going to need is some sort of straight tail worms. This is just some Zoom floating trick worms. This is the chartreuse color right here. And then at this point, you could use the entire worm if you wanted to, but I cut it down to about the bottom part of the egg sac right here. And at that point, then I'm left with just two-thirds of the worm, a perfect tail size to add on to my baits. Then what you do is you just take some hitchhikers. So these are just some basic do-it-mold screw lock hitchhikers, and you can screw just like this one. You can screw that onto your worm, and at that point, you're left with a hitchhiker coming out of your worm. And then you just need to snap that onto the back treble hook, onto the eye that your treble hook connects to. I do recommend that when you snap that on, you want to stay above the treble hook. You want the treble hook to swing freely below it. If you put the tail on below the treble hook, what's going to happen is the hook is going to just consistently get caught with the worm, and it's not going to run right. If you snap it on above the hook, and these Fusion 19 hooks are laser sharp, the tail will float above the hook and you won't get stuck. The worm and the hook won't get stuck. So at this point, you've got just a simple crankbait with a worm tail, but it's going to give you a bigger, bulkier size bait. It's going to give you a different look that you can't get with other crankbaits that are on the market. And if you want to, you can retrieve this at a much slower speed, keep it on the surface, and you've just created a rat style bait. Really a pretty versatile little bait. It's something that is fun to play around with, gives the fish a totally unique look. And it's just one of those baits, sometimes there's baits that are fun to retrieve because they look cool in the water. Well, this is one of them. A rat style bait is one that just is fun to look at because the tail moving through the water looks really good. And you catch a lot of fish. I found that this works phenomenal on both spots and smallmouth because they just can't resist that tail whipping around. That's my opinion, at least. The other option would be to take like a small 3-inch grub, twister tail grub, and do the same thing. You can put a hitchhiker onto the back of it, like so, and then snap that onto the back of the crankbait, and then you've got Again, a little bit different of a look. You're putting out more vibration from the twister tail, and it's something that adds bulk, adds a little buoyancy, makes the bait run a little bit different. It's worth trying. It's worth playing around with. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the best thing ever, but it's a unique style bait that does get bites, and it does just kind of add enjoyment to the fishing process, which is always a fun thing to do. So I've got a little bit of footage here. I'm going to insert it in so you can see what both the tails look like on this Berkley Squarebull, just so you can see how it runs and kind of the uniqueness to it. All right, well, here is the updated Tubby version. This is how you can simply make a crankbait into a rat style bait. Gives your bait a different, unique presentation. You can see it's just got the tail, it's grinding down there on the bottom. Just looks like an underwater rat. You want to slow retrieve it, you can slow retrieve it, leave it as a surface bait like your basic rat style bait, or you can really get it going, beating it up on the bottom. Just a different presentation, something a little different, something fun to play with, gives the fish a different look. As you can see, we're down here standing on some ice right now. Won't be long before the river is froze over. And I'll show you the other version here real quick as well. All right, here's a second version where you can easily take a twister tail grub and apply it to your crankbaits to get a different approach. You can use all different sizes. In this case, this is just a 3-inch grub. This is my standard size that I like the best. Again, just something that will really just give the fish a different presentation. If you're fishing super muddy water, it can add some bulk, add some bigger size to it, some additional vibration. At the same time, you want to use it more like a topwater bait, you can do that just to create that jointed appearance. A fun little update that you can do to any crankbait. All right, guys, well, there you have it. You've just created a rat style crankbait, something that is pretty unique and kind of goes back to like the old Storm Tubby and some of the old school baits that we don't see on the market anymore. So if you want to add a tail to it, real simple to do. The worst case scenario is you don't like the tail. You unsnap it from the back eye and you've got your original crankbait. No actual alterations to the bait, which is really nice. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, hit that like button. Stay tuned. We got more videos coming out tomorrow.